Hi class. Today we're going to be working on these 2 pages, so make sure you have them in front of you with your name and the date. So if you don't already have your do now done, make sure that you have an equation written right here. If you're not sure how to solve that, then you need to have your pieces in front of you, your box on your desk, not to be mixed up with anybody else's, and you're going to have 12/5. If you don't have enough pieces, say you only have 10/5, then you can think about, oh, how many fifths are going to be in one whole, and get out one whole instead, and know, oh, I have 5/5 there. Okay, if you still are not sure, go ahead and ask for help. So you're going to decompose 12/5. You can decompose it into 2 parts or 3 parts, and then you're going to do it a different way on the line underneath. If you can hear my son in the background, sorry. 12/5. Write 12/5 as a mixed number. Alright, so here I have my 12/5. 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5, 6/5, 7/5, 8/5, 9/5, 10/5, 11/5, 12/5. Go ahead and make that a mixed number. You can pause the video to do this yourself, so you should have out your 12/5. When we make it a mixed number, that means we're going to make it into a whole number and possibly some fractions. So go ahead and get out your whole and find out how many of these pieces can I cover up with one whole. Okay, lay your whole on top of that. Is there enough left that we can cover up some more with another whole? Grab another whole. Try it. Okay, grab a third whole. Is there enough left to cover up a third whole? No. We only have 2/5 left, so we cannot cover up a third whole. So you should be able to see that you have 1 whole, 2 wholes, and then 2/5 left over. So that would be your mixed number. Excuse Hayden, he's talking in the background. Okay, now we're going to move on to the next one. Decompose the mixed number 3 1/4. Represent your decomposition with an equation. All right, you can use a number bond if that's helpful. 3 1/4. So if you're not sure how to decompose that, I want you to get out your pieces and lay out 3 wholes and 1/4. Pause the video to do that. Now, can you decompose 3 1/4 into 2 different things, or maybe even 3 different parts? Then you're going to add those together to get 3 1/4. Pause the video so you can do that. Now you're going to rename 3 1/4 as an improper fraction. All right, we got some art here. Now it looks a little bit more like your pieces. 3 wholes, 1 whole, 2 wholes, 3 wholes, and 1/4. That should be out in front of you. Now, how can we rename this as an improper fraction? Well, we have to think, So I know an improper fraction means that the top number in the fraction is going to be larger than the denominator in the bottom. What is my denominator going to be here? Well, my 1 wholes, they don't have a denominator, but over here, my denominator is 4ths. Could I have all 4ths? Yeah, I could have all 4ths. How many 4ths are there in 1 whole? Go ahead and lay out your 4ths so they cover 1 whole. Pause the video. All right, did you get 4/4 is in one whole? Great. So we have 4/4, 4/4, and you don't even have to put 4 more fourths on the second whole because you already know that it's 4. And then 4 more fourths. We're not going to lay them down on the third hole because we don't even have enough fourths, do we? So instead, we're just going to count them. And we've been working all year on counting by 4s. We can sing our song if we need to. So let's go ahead and do it. There's 4/4 plus 4 more. 4, 8 plus 4 more. 12 plus 1 more. 12 plus 1 is 13/4. So, whenever you're renaming a mixed number with the whole into an improper fraction, you don't have to have enough pieces. You should just be able to count by how many pieces that there are. So for example, in this next one, we're going to have tenths. And we can count by tens, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So this should be no problem. All right, moving on. Decompose the mixed number 1 7/10. Represent your decomposition with an equation. So go ahead and lay out 1 7/10 with your pieces. Pause the video while you're doing that. All right, so once you have 1 7/10 laid out, go ahead and decompose it into an equation. So we know we're going to have something here and something here, and it will equal 1 7/10. You can move your pieces around to solve that. Now you're going to rename 1 7/10 as an improper fraction. So think back to the last one that we did. How many tenths would be in one whole? If you're not sure, cover it up with your tenths pieces. And you will figure out how many tenths there are in one whole. I'm not going to tell you. Once you figure out how many tenths there are in one whole, you're going to say that many tenths plus this many tenths equals how many tenths. Pause the video if you still need more time. Now we're going to move on. Decompose the mixed number 6 1/2. Represent your decomposition as an equation. So first, you should have your pieces showing 6 wholes and 1/2 in front of you. Go ahead and do that. So when you have that laid out, you're going to ask yourself, I do not have enough halves in my pieces. I only have 4 halves, and I've already used one of them. How many halves are in one whole? Yeah, there's 2 halves in one whole. What about in another whole? There's another 2 halves. So you're going to go through and you're going to figure out what would 2 halves plus 2 halves plus 2 halves plus this much plus this much plus this much plus this much be. And you're going to say, wow, that tells me what the improper fraction would be. How would I decompose this? Can I break this apart? I can either break it up into maybe 3 wholes and 3 1/2, or I could actually change maybe this one to 2 halves. And so now I have 3 halves plus 5 wholes. 5 wholes plus 3 halves actually still equals 6 1/2. Can you come up with another equation that's different from the one that I just wrote right here to show how you could decompose 6 1/2? Pause the video because I'm going to go into the next problem, but you still need to solve this one. All right, now we're going to decompose the mixed number 2 and 2/6. Represent your decomposition as an equation. So, of course, if you haven't already, lay out 2 wholes and 2/6. Pause the video so you can do this. Now, before you decompose this, I don't want you to decompose it into 2 plus 2 and 2/6. I know you can do that. Instead, can you decompose one or both of these wholes into sixths so that you can have maybe 1 whole plus something, so many sixths, equals 1 and 2/6? Go ahead and figure out what that would be. How many sixths would there be in this whole? And then you would have to make sure that you included all of these as sixths plus the 1 whole over here that stayed the same. Go ahead and try that. Now, can you rename 2 and 2/6 as an improper fraction? How many sixths are there in 1 whole? What about in another whole? Now, how many sixths are there in this whole thing? That would be an improper fraction. You don't have enough pieces to solve this, so you're going to have to do the math here. Now, I know this says partner work, but if I was there, we would be doing partner work, but I'm not there, so I am now your official partner. Hello, partner. So, you're going to rename the improper fraction or the mixed number by decomposing. Write an expression that shows your decomposition. So, I'll be the first partner, and I will lay out 11/6 in front of me. So if you're having trouble, make sure that you're using your pieces. Probably some of you can do this without using your pieces. So I have 11/6, 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6, 6/6, 7/6, 8/6, 9/6, 10/6, 11/6. And I'm going to decompose them into 2 amounts. So I'm actually going to have 6/6 plus 5/6. So that's what I'm going to write here. Great. And then I can write it as a mixed number. I actually know that 6/6 is the same as 1 whole. So I have 1 whole plus 5/6. So that was pretty easy. On the next one, I'm just going to add these together. What is 3/3 plus 1/3? It's 4/3. All right. So that would be my improper fraction, because I know improper means that the numerator is larger than the denominator. Now, what would my mixed number be? Go ahead and write it over here. On the ones where you have the mixed number, it's going to be the same as what we've been doing in the previous question. So you can lay out 2 1/8, find the improper fraction, and you can decompose it into 2 parts or 3 if you're feeling the real challenge. And you're going to finish the rest of this chart. Pause the video so you can do that. All right, and I want to remind you that even though these might look tricky when you first start, just slow down and think, wait, how much is 1 whole? How many eighths would make 1 whole? Okay, how many eighths would make 2 wholes? How many eighths would make 3 wholes? And go from there. All right, this next part, and pause the video if you haven't finished what was above here. You're going to write the following mixed numbers, these 4, as improper fractions. So just like you did this and the questions before, you can lay out 2 and 2/4 with your pieces and then find out how many fourths would be in each whole. Add those fourths by counting by 4s. and then add the 2/4 to it. You're doing the same thing with each of these. So you're taking your 1 whole and you're saying, okay, I'm using 4ths, or I'm using halves in this question, or 12ths, and you're going to cover them up with however many of those pieces work, and then you're going to count those pieces. And you're going to have how many 4ths, how many halves, how many 12ths, and how many 8ths. Pause the video so you can do those. Now, if you've made it this far, congratulations. You're doing great. Look around, see if anybody around you is struggling, possibly with this part. You can go ahead and show them how to use their pieces to cover up 1 whole and how to count by the denominator in order. So we would count like 12. There's 2 wholes, so that would be 12 plus 12 plus the extra amount, okay? So you can go ahead and help those around you if they don't know. If they've almost got it, just let them be, all right? That's what would be, if they're on the track, you don't need to help them because they're almost there. All right, now, this part you actually can use a partner if there's still time. So you are going to challenge a friend, and you're going to have their name right here. So if I'm challenging Jesus, I'm going to write his name here. Obviously, this is my paper. It has my name at the top. All right, so the directions say, you write different mixed numbers on the first line. So that is my job, as this being my paper. So I'm writing over here because this is my paper. My partner is writing over here the answers once I'm done. So first, my job is to write a mixed number on the first line. So I'm going to go ahead and write a hard one. 3 7/8. Okay? And my partner is on their paper, wrote one right here for me. And then we are going to switch papers and solve. So my partner will write how much 3 7/8 is as an improper fraction right here. And then on their paper, they have one written over here for me, and I'm writing what the answer would be as an improper fraction. All right, and you can either do all 6 of them, or you can do 1 and then switch, 1 and switch, 1, switch, okay? So I hope that you stayed on task today and that you did your work and that you learned something even though it was gone. I can't wait to see you tomorrow, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.